So, a very good morning to all of you. Am I audible? Okay, thanks for your responses here. Okay, so we can start. So, last few classes, we are not able to be together here, being the reason I was on leave here. So, now we are going to start from where we have left in our last discussion. So, in the last discussion, we are having discussion on the joint random variables here, or two random variables here, precisely, I could say here. And in the last few discussion, we are having the discussion related with some properties or some mathematical operation which we can apply here on the joint random variables here. Okay, so with this all here, this introduction, I'm going to start what we have left here in the previous discussion here. So so the properties which we are having discussion here, it was in the last few minutes we are having discussion on the linear combination of the random variables here. And prior to that, we have discussed about the linear combination of some random functions here. We already discussed here. And so here we are considering if x1, x2, and xn is a sequence of random variables, and a1, a2, a1, b1 are constants here. And these are the constants here. And then if we go for the expectation operation here, then this expectation operation outcome will be a1 x1 plus a1 x1 plus b will be a1 ex1 plus a2 ex2 plus if we move on simultaneously here, an exn plus b here. Being the b is a constant here, if you apply the expectation operations here, after that we will get the same number here. So that's why after the expectation operation we are getting the same outcome here. If in addition the random variables are independent, we will discuss the independent properties just after a while here. And for time being, what we were discussed earlier, so you have some idea. When we say the independent means the functions are not correlated here. Means the occurrence of one event's outcome is totally independent corresponding to the occurrence of another event outcome here. Or you can say the random variable x is totally independent of random variable y here. Here, if we move to the joint probabilities here. So the point is, when you say this kind of independence here nature here means the occurrence of one is not going to affect the occurrence of other here. So on the same function, if we apply here variance property, if you are interested to explore here, then it will be the similar function here, because if you remember x square into fx here, generally we go for the variance here. And the important point is, if you remember, when you go for the variance of the any constant terms here, which is appearing here, in case expectation operation here, constant terms of variance value is 0. So that's why you can observe the rest of the coefficient a1 to the an here, start beginning from a1, beginning to the an here. But this term b is not present here because the variance of a constant number is 0. So averaging independent random variables here, suppose that x1, x2 is a sequence of independent random variables with an expectation mu and variance sigma square here. If we have, then based on that, we could explore few more things here. Then their corresponding mu, if we go to properties here, this is the average here. Average, how we calculate here, whatever the numbers quantities given, generally sum up and take the average. This is the here. So how we go for the expectation operation? This is expectation E x bar is equal to mu, the same number here. But once we go for the variance x bar here, this is the square of the quantity here, and here we are getting sigma square by n here. We are not getting the n square here. Okay, because so from where this n is appearing here and why this is not appearing in the mean here, that's a typical question, because we are going for the n number times, so in average this n need to be appeared here. But in the final sequence here we are observing there is no terms related to this one here. So we could explore here. So expectation of x bar, what is given here? Here this is expectation operation on each. So what was given in the previous graph here x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus by n here means I could say x1 by n plus x2 by n plus x3 by n here. So this term which is given here, I could break it into different components here, and when you go for the expectation operations here, I am just doing the same. Whatever the terms was given there here, I have just written it in the segregated manner here, and then we are going to apply this expectation operation here. So 1 by n expectation on x1 plus 1 by n expectation on x2 plus so on, and till the 1 by n expectation of x1 here. So 1 by n, this expectation of x1 is mu plus expectation of x2 is again mu here, okay, and so on if we keep on moving here in this manner. So 1 by n mu plus 1 by n mu plus 1 by n mu here. So how many times mu will appear? It will be n times here. And why these are going? Because it is stated in the problem here that the mean value is mu here, and this mean value is already given here. Because suppose the x1 x2 is a sequence of independent random variables with an expectation mu and variance sigma square here. So corresponding the random variables, its mean and variance is already defined here. Okay, so this mean is coming mu. What about the variance terms here? If you go for the variance here, then again in the same similar manner here, whatever operation we perform here, we need to go for the segregated manner here. So what is given in this bracket here, you could say we have just simply segregated it, summing and then divided by n here. So each integral term by with respective division I have just written in here. So this variance here, so the square of the terms quantity will need to be here. So from each term 1 by n square terms will come here. So variance of x1 plus 1 by n square plus and so on if it goes plus 1 by n square into variance of xn here. So 1 by n square will come these terms here, and the variance of x1 is given as the sigma square as it is stated in the early discussion here. So similarly variance of x1 is again sigma square here. Okay, it's just like that. The expectation of x1 is mu as well as the expectation of x1 is again mu here. That's for the problem statement given here. So once you have this information, the sigma square terms will appear n times here. So 1 by n square into n times sigma square here. So 1n will be cancelled out. So it will be sigma square by n here. So here we can find out as per the problem which we have discussed earlier here. The standardized score of the two tests y1 10 by 3 x1 and y2 5 by 3 x2 plus 50 by 3. We can substitute the values here. So if we talk about the final score list dependent on these two functions here, 2 by 3 y1 plus 1 by 3 y2 here. Just substitute the values here and here. It will be coming 20 by 9 x1 plus 5 by 9 x2 plus 550 by 9. Okay. The expected value of the final score is here we can say EZ, it's got 20 by 9 expectation x1 plus 5 by 9 expectation x2 plus 50 by 9 here. So if we just substitute the values, we will get the final answer here. And similarly, if we go for the variance here, the final one here, we need to know the values corresponding with the individual here x1 and x2 here. Just after the substitution, we'll get the values. So here you can again observe based on the function value here 50 by 9 is the constant term is appearing in the z term here and in case of mean terms we are considering this integer up here. But once you go for the variance here, being the constant term, its variance will be 0 here. So that's why you can see this term here, this term here, there is no term corresponding to this one here, because this value is 0. Now there is a very important properties here which we are going to discuss, that is called as a independence here. So in some random experiments, knowledge of the value of x does not change any of the probability associated with the values for y here. Okay, so we can think of with this our example of coin as well as the uh, dice here. So if I am going to roll a dice here, then out of the six outcome, 1 to 6 here, anyone can pop up here as a final outcome here. Similarly, if I am going to toss a coin here, so out of the two possibilities, head or tail, anyone could appear here. Okay, so these two experiments are totally independent here. But if I am going to roll a dice here, it doesn't have any relation here with the coin outcome here. So if head is coming, then only 2, 4, 6 will come, or if a tail is coming here, then only 1, 3, 5 will come here. No, there's no such kinds of relation here. So means the corresponding occurrence of x is totally independent of the occurrence of y here. So this is a totally independent here. But if we take another example here, there are there is a one bag here. The bag is full of two color balls here. One is red, another is blue. Okay, so red ball is 4 in number and blue ball is 6 in number here. Okay, now I am going to draw. If I find out the probabilities of drawing a red ball here, okay, and with the condition that I am not going to replace it anyone here. The moment I drawn a first ball here and I'm interested, that's a probability here. Then what will be the probability of drawing a red ball out of the 10 ball here? 0.4. Very good, Dipanshu. Okay. So if I'm going to draw a first ball here, if I'm not going to replace it, the probability of drawing a red ball is will be 0.4 here. Okay. And after that, I'm going to perform the second experiment, that is drawing of blue ball here. So what will be the probability of drawing a blue ball? No, I think yes. Again, correct from Dipanshu here. This is 6 by 9. Correct here. Anyone else got this answer? 6 by 9? Anyone else? Kamal, okay. You can solve it here. So it will be 2 by 3. Okay. Anyone else? No, it's just only 2 or 3% here. I think out of 150, this response is very less. Oh, so we are 150 plus in strength here. Even this is not 10%. Okay. So let me explain it again. Here, when I've taken a pool of the 10 balls here, out of the 10 balls, 4 were the blue, 4 were the red, and 6 were the blue ball here. So first time when I will perform the experiments of drawing a red ball here, then the total red balls are 4. Favorable condition is 4 here. And what are the total number of balls here? That is the 4 plus 6, 10 here. So that's why it will be 4 by 10. It is appearing here. But once I'm going to perform the second experiment, that is drawing a blue ball here. In case of blue ball, now the number is have been decreased from initial 10 to the 9 because one experiment I have performed earlier here. Okay, and now the occurrence of second experiment's outcome is totally dependent on the what you have performed first here. That's why I'm saying the independence here. Okay, so in the case of second trying the blue ball here, total number of balls now present will be 9 here in place of 10 because one red ball has been already drawn and it has not been replaced in the pool here. So the total favorable condition will be that 6 blue ball, total number of balls will be 9. So it will be 6 by 9 here. What the Dipanshu and the Kamal have given me the answer here. So both are correct here. So the point is when I'm performing the two experiments of dice as well as the coin here, here you can say the outcome is not dependent on another here. That if dice is coming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, it doesn't have any relation with the occurrence or the outcome of the coin outcome here. But once you're performing the second one here, and then there's a change here. Okay, and the second experiment is there's the ball here, ball experiment. If I'm performing here, then you can see the outcome is going to be varied based on whatever the experiment's outcome I performed earlier here. So that's why this is called as dependence here. Here, so whatever we are talking here, and this independence phenomena here, here that the events are totally independent here. So once the events are totally independent here, means their associated probabilities are totally independent here, then subsequently whatever the random variable I am going to define based on this uh, independent events here, their associated random variables will also perform the same independence properties here in nature here. Okay, so if two random variables x and y are independent here, then probability of x belongs to A and y belongs to B here, then the overall probability will be the product of these two, probability of x belongs to A into probability of y belongs to B, for any set A and B in the range of x and y respectively here. If you see later the PDF function here, then therefore PDF will be also calculated. So here the joint probability density functions will be equal to the multiplication of the individual probability density function of x and the probability density function of y here. For all x and y, this is the simplified case here whenever the x and y are independent here. Whenever they have some constant dependency, we need to consider the dependency aspects too in our analysis here. So let the renewable x and y denotes the length of two dimension of a machine part respectively here. So assume that x and y are independent random variables and the distribution of x is normal with mean 10.5 mm and variance 0.0025. Similarly, distribution of y normal with mean 3.2 and with variance 0.036 here. Determine the probability that 10.4 x is lying between the 10.4 to 10.6 and y is lying from 3.15 to 3.25. Watch x and y are independent here, so we could go for the individual probabilities product here multiplication. So this is they are lying in the interval here, so corresponding to that interval here I could perform probability 10.4 to x 10.6, what is given here. So we need to go for the normalized value here, so question the mean x minus x bar here divided by the sigma here. This is the normalized, this is again normalized here. So this will be the value from here normalization, then after the product form we'll get this value here. Okay, this will be the max here, where z denotes a standard normal random variables here. Function of, if we define the function random variable y is equal to x plus c here, so then ey equal to ex plus c. Then if the mu is known to us here, then mu plus c. In case of variance, Vx plus 0, because constant terms, variance is 0. If this is a product term here, then we need to consider it here. If it is summation term here, then it is discarded with the 0 values here in case of variance here. But if it is a product term here, y is equal to cx, then expectation y, expectation cx is c into ex is equal to c into me. So it's a multiplication of any term here, which is the quantity here. We could say the same multiplication impact will be observed in case of its mean values here. But once you go for the variance terms here, in case of variance, if there is a multiplication here, then the square of these terms here in the variance will be observed here. Okay, because in case of variance, we need to go for the square of the values here. So being this constant here, this constant square value will be considered here, and this will be c square. The mean and the variance of the linear function of independent random variables here. So just the properties which we have observed in the previous slides here. So if we are interested for to calculate the mean as well as the variance of the here. So based on the given function, y is equal to c naught plus c1 x1 plus c2 x2 plus c1 x1 here. So this is simple for the constant term, constant, where in case of other term x1 x2, mu will appear, mean value, so c1 mu1 plus c2 mu2 and so on here. If all of them equal here, so mu1 is equal to mu2 or is equal to mu1 here, then we could take this mu common and summarize it here. Similarly, for the variance terms here, the c naught terms is constant in the summation here, so this term value will be 0 here when it comes to here. So this term will be 0. Where in case of rest of the term, square value cn square plus sigma square plus c2 square plus sigma 2 square here and so on here. So just the property which you observed here, in place of one or two number of random variables, if I need to extend the concept for the n random variable here, I could do the same here without any issue here. Okay. What if the random variables are not independent here? So whenever they are not independent here, at the time there's some kinds of correlation depends between these properties here. Here we define later here. So in this case we could define very qualitatively that this correlation between two random variables x1 x2 I need to define, then rho x1 x2 will be e expectation x1 x2 minus mu1 and mu2. That's the point here, divided by under root sigma 1 square into sigma 2 square here. That's the standard variation for random variable 1 into standard deviation corresponding to the random variable 2 here, where the row values lying between the -1 to 1 here. Okay. So what will the change will appear here corresponding to the not independent functions here. In the previous case, we have observed the function independent here. So just like the previous case, we are considering a random variable here and random variable of any number here, where the c naught constant terms will appear here. Along with that, they have some linear dependency on some constant c1 c2 up to the cn here. So once we go for the expectation operations here, so expectation operations, we can observe the c naught will appear from here to here, the constant term here, so here correspond to the rest of the terms c1 into x1. Expectation on x1 terms will lead to the mu1 here. Similarly, expectation operation on the x2 terms will lead to the mu2 here, and so on for the x1 here. But once you go for the variance terms here, in the variance term, if you remember previous cases here, we have seen just up to this point here. And this additional term is appearing when we are considering the functions are dependent here. means correspond corresponding to the dependent functions here, this kinds of relation will exist between the multiple random variables here. So if we are going for the two random variables here, then it will be corresponding to x and y here. Similarly, if we go for the n numbers here, so among the n random variables, this kinds of covariance or correlation will exist between the those random variables here, and this value will not be zero here. If the function is independent here, which was at present our discussion is not independent here. If the function is independent, then this value will be 0. 0 is straightforward here. So what we are observing in the previous discussion corresponding to the variance terms here, that is c1 square sigma 1 square plus c2 square sigma 2 square and up to the cn square into sigma n square. There was no further term here, but here it will exist here when you are talking about the n random variables here and precisely, and these random variables are not independent of each other here, so means they have some dependency here. So now we will go for a few more operations here. So before we go further here, let us discuss what we have learned earlier here. Based on that discussion, on top of it, we will define what are the few advanced operations here or new operation mathematical operations here, which we can perform on the multiple random variables here. Statistical average we are already familiar here. So how we can find here? Here's a statistical average, nothing, the expected value or mean here, define ex, and we can go for integration x into fx into dx here. And now corresponding the function values here, if the random variable is a function of another random variable here which we were discussing in the last class too here. So what are the x we are defining here? This x is denoted by a function gx here. Okay, and corresponding to this gx here, y is equal to gx, I need to perform the statistical average here. In the previous cases here, mu x here, if you remember, there is simply x into fx here. So corresponding to the random variable y here, what is that? Ey if I perform here, so it will be just like the value of x here. It will be y into fy by y into dy here. Okay, I said y into fy dy here. We perform further. Then this y is gx here. Y is equal to gs. Okay. So y is equal to gx here. The expectation of operation on gx will be in minus infinity to infinity. Y is equal to gx here. Then fx into x into dx here. So this way we could slightly changes if the random variable which you are defining is a function of another random variable here. So any doubt up to this point? Okay. So let's move further. Now, what we were defined here in the previous cases, this was related to the only two term here. Okay. So now we are going to generalize this statistical average process here. Here, what were the average or the variance properties which you have defined here? That is the part of the statistical average here. So here, and based on our application requirement, we have discussed in our initial discussion here. Now we are going to generalize those properties here in the broader umbrella of statistical average, and and here we are going to define the function gx here. What we are defining, this gx will be equal to the x in here. Okay, just in the previous case, this expression here, gx minus infinity to infinity gx into fx into x into dx here. So what could be the value of this gx? here. Okay. So here we are considering moment for gx is equal to x for n. We obtain the nth moment here based on the power here. Power of this x, we define its order here. So nth moment of the probability distribution function of the random x, that is expectation of x1 here will be minus infinity to infinity xn into fx into x dx here. So mean square value of x, if we need to find x e into x square will be minus infinity infinity x square into fx into x dx here. The nth central moment, if we need to define expectation x minus mu x for n will be minus infinity infinity x minus mu x into n into fxx into dx here. So this is the central moment corresponding to the origin point here, or it could be also the mean point also here. So in case of origin point here, this mu x value will be 0 here. So that's why it will get most of the times we will outside e x power n here like this. But if you go for the central moment here, then this will be x minus mu x here. What is the mean value? We need to minus it here. So corresponding to that, minus infinity infinity x minus mu x into n to fx into x into dx. Okay. So the nth central moment we could decide it. So for n is equal to 2, the second central moment is defined as the variance of the random variable x here. Variance of x is equal to e x minus mu x square minus infinity to x minus mu x square into fx dx here. The variance of random variable x is commonly denoted as sigma square x here. The square root of the variance is called as the standard deviation. Okay, so simply we can substitute the values here. How we are coming here. So in case of central moment, which we are defining here, which we are defining, this is standard deviation here. So variance of x here, variance of x is x minus mu x square here. Whatever the term is appearing, just go for the square of the term here. So expectation x square minus 2 mu x into expectation x plus mu x square here. This mu is constant terms here mean. So expectation operation will not hamper it here. Then expectation of x here will be again mu x here. So expectation of x square minus mu x square here. Then minus 2 here plus mu here. So 1 will be cancelled out. So here sigma sigma s square will be x square minus mu x square here. Okay. So what will be the joint moment corresponding to that here? Expectation operation which we are performing in general here. For previous cases, it was corresponding to the same function here. Now we are going for the joint moments here. So in case of joint moments, in place of one here, one random variable, I need to consider two random variables here. So previous cases, we are calling it the correlation properties here. Now we will go for the nomenclature covariance here if you are going with the central moment here. Okay. Consider next a pair of random variable x and y. A set of statistical average of importance in this case are the joint moments, namely the expected value of xi, yk here. Okay. So in general, what we used to do in previous cases here, it is x square into fx. Okay, x square into fx into dx here. We used to perform here. Now, but once we go for the two random variables here, then this in place of x square here, it will be modified like this here. It will be minus infinity infinity minus infinity infinity here. Two times the integration here corresponding to the two variables x and y here corresponding to two random variables. Their values appear in terms of dx and dy here. Minus infinity infinity minus infinity xi into yk fxy xy into dx dyk here. So corresponding to their order here, if I need, if I am interested here, then I need to simply sum of the power of these I and k. Okay, so the summation of I plus k will define us the order of the moments here. What is the joint moments order here? Here. So corresponding to the different orders here, we are more interested corresponding to I is equal to k is equal to 1 here. If you remember, when we discuss corresponding to multiple random variables, we are more concerned in this course here about the second order here, or the first as well as the second here. So out of the two I and k here, if any one zero here, then it will be just like a mean operation here. Okay, it's like a mean operation here, which we perform here. Individual terms, mean values here. If both the values are one here, so then it will define as a covariance. Covariance of x and y. This is equal to ex minus ex into y minus ey here. This could be written as ex is equal to mu x bar here, or this could be x, and this could be ey is equal to mu y here. Yes, so just simply substitute it here, then it will be final product value e xy minus mu x into mu y here. Once you solve it here, you will get this term. So correlation coefficient between two random variables x and y divided by rho xy is the normalized value of their covariance here. So sigma square xy divided by sigma x, sigma y here whenever they are independent here. So once we observe the value here, there is being this normalized value here, this is going to fall in the range of -1 to +1 here. Here, so once it is a -1 here, means negative linear correlation. When they are positive one here, means positive linear correlation here. Once the value is 0, it means mm, they are having no correlation here. Here. Mm, okay. This is the one example corresponding to tossing the three coins here. Corresponding to three coins values here. Just simply find out the values and we can substitute it, and finally we'll get -1 here. So mean negative linear correlation here. So in case of joint covariance function here, as we discussed, x minus expectation of x minus mu x into y minus mu y here. So if we generalize it for the n here, so in case of n number of values here, here the sigma xy could be written as sigma I is equal to 1 to n xi minus mu xi into yi minus mu y here, because this mu mean values are going to be calculated and it will be uniform throughout the calculation here. So it is not going to change. Correspond to all xi and yi here. This mu x and mu y value will be constant here. It's in the formula, it will not change. So that's why it will take the further multiplication by the associated probability terms here. So correspond to the sample covariance there. Here just a generalization form correspond to the previous case here. The sigma xy there is a covariance formula. So based on the values here, if it is greater than 0 means positively correlated, if less than 0 here is inversely correlated, and covariance value is 0 here. So what we calculated here from this formulas here. So if the values of this covariance formula is coming 0 here, means they are totally independent here. Okay, this is the similar terms here which we have discussed earlier here. This is summarized form here. Okay, summarized form here we could written here. So correlation coefficient of x and y, rho xy is equal to covariance x and y divided by the sigma x minus sigma y. This is the variance here. X and y are uncorrelated if and only way if covariance of x and y is equal to 0 here. Not the x is independent, then they are uncorrelated here. The converse of the above statement is not necessarily true. It means as per the point here, if the function are independent here, then their covariance value will be 0 here, but doesn't imply that if the covariance value is 0, then the functions are independent here. Did you? I hope you got the point here. I'm going to repeat it here. If the covariance value is 0, it doesn't imply that the functions are independent here. But If the function are independent here, then its covariance value will be 0 here. This is sure and certain here. So these are the properties related to the covariance function here. The covariance between two random variables x and y here. The x minus ex into y minus ey is equal to exy minus exey. Yeah. These are the few of the properties which we used to discuss here. Covariance of x and a is equal to 0 here. Covariance of x and a, because this is the constant terms here. Covariance of x and y, this will be variance x. Covariance of x and y will be equal to the covariance of y and x here. Similarly, covariance of ax comma by will be equal to the ab into covariance of x and y. Covariance of x plus a into y plus b here. Then the covariance of equal to x plus y, because of the summation term, covariance value will be 0 here. So covariance of ax plus by into z here. So this will appear in the final outcome here. Here, because it's a multiplication here. If you remember when you're having discussion the properties here, then if it is the summation, then this variance value will be 0. But if they're coming in the multiplication here, then this will be reflected here in the final outcome here. Okay, a covariance x set plus b covariance y set here. So this is one of the example here where they substitute the values and they can find out here. Okay, let us see this example here. So this is the one function where the two random variables are associated with each other here, and their density function is defined. Fxy is equal to 1 by 16 into xy here. Exy is defined as the double integer over the range of x and y here. That is expectation operation if you need to perform here. So the expectation operation value will be 2 integration here, one corresponding to x and another corresponding to the y. What is the range of x here? You can see x is ranging from 0 to 2, 0 to 2. Y is ranging from 0 to 4 here. Y is equal to 0 to 4 here. Xy, fxy, xy into dx, dy here. So this would be equal to 1 by 16 here, 0 to 4, 0 to x square, y square, dx into dy will be equal to 1 by 16 y square into x cube by 3 here, 0 to here. Once you substitute the values here, 1 by 16 y square into 8 by 3 into dy here. So final values after substituting all the values here, we will get is 32 by 9 here. Okay. So this is just the one example here where we use the function properties here, function values, which is given to us here, and just substitute it here in this formulas here. Xy into multiplication with is 1 by 16 xy into y here. Corresponding to the individual terms here, we could find always here from their marginal density functions here, ex. I could find similarly, I could go for the ey terms to here. Ex is equal to 4 by 3, ey is equal to 8 by 3 here. Thus, so here you can see if you substitute the values here, then covariance value exy minus ex into ey. Substitute the values, it was coming as a 0. So this value is coming 0 here. As if you verify this one here from the properties, you could find out fxy will be equal to the fxx into fyy here. Means the joint distribution function values will be equal to the individual terms, their values here. Here you can say the joint density function value will be equal to the product of individual random variables density functions here. So xy represents fxy represents the joint density function here, and fxx fyy represents the single density functions here. So this will be the related to their product here, and this will be corresponding to the independent events here, which we have discussed earlier here. Yeah. This is another example here which we are covering here. So the reverse operation, what we are trying to communicate to you here, if the function are independent, then their covariance value will be 0. But if the covariance value is 0, it doesn't imply that the functions are independent here. Okay. So here from this example, you can see here. Ex values we calculated, here it is coming 0. Okay, so if you go for the exy here, so you will get some values, it is coming as 0 here. So covariance, if you observed here, so this one is 0, this one 0 is 0 here. Okay, but x determine y, x and y are not independent here. Okay, because here y is equal to x square. The function value is function nature is like this, y is equal to x square, and corresponding to this function I have calculated just expectation of x and the joint properties here, expectation of xy here, and in both the cases I am getting the value 0, and simultaneously I am getting the word covariance value also as a 0 here, but the getting the covariance value 0, it doesn't imply or guarantee that the functions are independent here. That's the point which I was trying to point out in our previous discussion here. This is the one example here for that. Okay, so this is something you can go through it few more examples here in the book here. Non-linear function of a random variables, how it is going to perform here. So a non-linear function random variable x, the random variable y is equal to gx for some non-linear function g here. So for example, y is equal to x square is given here, then y is equal to I am assuming y is equal to here. I think this is something wrong here. So y is equal to corresponding to this one function gx here, which we are defining here, y is equal to ex here. So there is no generators that relate the expectation and variance of the random variable y to the expectation and variance of the random variable x here. Here. So if you see the one example here, it will be clear to you. So just we are define density function here corresponding to the random variable x here. So where you can observe fx x is equal to 1 within this interval of 0 to 1 here, rest of the time function this value is 0 here. It's a distribution function, you can say fx is equal to x for 0 to 1 here. So consider y is equal to ex here. So for y is equal to ex within this interval here, if I substitute it here in this function here, so it is 0 to 1 here, so y is equal to e power x, so e power 0, e power 0, e power x, e power n here. So the minimum value it will start from e power 0, that is the unity, e power x is y, and e power 1 value is 2.718 here. Okay, what is the PDF of y here? So non-linear function of a random variable here, just like other cases here, we can go for the non-linear functions also here, just using the similar formulas here. Means if the distribution function is known to us here, we can find out the density function by differentiation. If density function is known here, then by integrating it here, we could find out the distribution function here. That's the one point here. Second, in case of EY calculation also here, we can go ahead here just like using the previous formulas here. So in case of n number of functions here, we can generalize the formulas here using the similar function here, but we need to perform the operation term by terms here. So just we have seen in the previous cases here. This is the one example which we have seen in the earlier case here. This is the same demonstration here. Okay, this is all for the today. Okay. Anything else? Any doubt? Okay. So there are few more examples here is given in the book here. So you can explore those problem statement here. You can solve it here. Yeah, so there are few more classes left here in this course. So next week we are going to cover the, our discussion here, and so next week we will finish this course here. Peebles here, yes. So I think one of the questions I think asked in I think this questions here. Okay, so for the you can follow the Peebles here. It is very good book. There is no issue. For problem and other things here, you may refer also the Swom series here. There you can find some good examples here. You can explore that book also here. Okay. So I think this is all from my side for the today's class here. And today, next class here, we will see some of the properties related to the Bayes rule here. Okay. Thank you.